evening and welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. I'm your host, Joshua Solomon, and with me as always is the Honorable J.P. Marzullo. How you doing, J.P.?
I'm doing good.
It's freezing out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's really cold. Oh, my God. Yeah, we had to put our wood stove on again, but that was
Did
about
you really?
10 days ago.
Yeah. Well, we're finally into some consistently warm weather, right? We were cold, 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 hot for one day, cold, 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 hot for one day.
Yeah.
Now we're just the opposite.
Yeah, yeah. I've thrown all the communists over the wall, though. I had a
Yeah?
pretty tough time with some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Sammy Stalin and some of those guys. Yeah, they were tough.
That's good. That's good. Well, at least we're rid of them.
We're
right?
working on it. We're
Getting
working
them
on
back
it.
over into Massachusetts. Where they
Yeah, I
belong.
did, but I just heard today where a woman that's running for mayor in D.C. makes Mandami look like a conservative.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently she's going to win, and first thing she's going to do is not cooperate with the feds.
Well, here's the thing.
But he can take it
DC
over. It's not a
DC
state.
is a federal city.
Exactly.
So, and he's already threatened to do so.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Um,
Anyway,
all right. Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades is sponsored, as always, by the Wilson Hill Pistol Club, located at 1732 Lakeshore Road, right here in Manchester. It is the oldest sports shooting club in New Hampshire. We're pushing 90 years old, so
Wow.
we're going to have our 100th anniversary here not too long.
nice.
You can reach us at wilsonhillpistol.org. You can go on there and you can see our training schedule and sign up for training and send us an email, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The next training is the Fast Carbine
Oh, wow.
on June 27th. That's not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. And I actually might take that one. That sounds
We haven't
like
taken
fun.
that yet.
I haven't taken the Fast Carbine. I've taken all of the advanced handgun and shotgun and
Shotguns.
home defense classes. The carbine is for rifles,
Yeah,
right? Not shotguns, but rifle rounds.
right.
So
30-06 and stuff.
FAST stands for Fundamentals in Safety Training. We're not slinging guns around.
Right.
The FAST carbine is the prerequisite to Home Defense Carbine 1, Carbine 2,
Oh, wow.
and Carbine 3. Where when you get into like Carbine 2, just like with Shotgun 2 and Handgun 2, you're doing some crazy stuff, right? Under the supervision of some experts. So anyway, you can sign up for that class. There are some open spots still. The advanced classes are much smaller for obvious reasons, safety reasons. So you can go there and sign up. They are our sponsor. Who are you rooting for in the World Cup?
Us, USA.
Okay,
I'm
going to
not.
say, if you say anything but USA, you're going to get smacked.
I would have said Italy,
stuttered,
but
stuttered there.
well, I mean, I have. USA. But I just hope they can win another match. But I wish they would change it to 2-0 rather than 2-0. That sounds so weird. How about the Scots
just the way
taking
the-
over Boston and
I
and
was just going to
drinking?
get to that. Like the Europeans who have been told how horrible, horrible, terrible the United States is are over here celebrating their favorite sport, something that we don't do very often.
Right.
And they are loving it. They're
Yeah.
posting all over social media on every.
They went to the
forum.
Red Sox game
Yeah.
and started yelling, "Yankees suck." I mean, it was like, I don't know where that came from, but the Scots were doing it. I love it.
You have that German blogger who's just disgusted with the liberal media because he's come over here and he's figured out that, wait a minute, Southerners are nice. He's going through Georgia, Alabama,
Hello.
Tennessee, and he's
And we have a Southerner with us tonight.
And he's like, wait a minute, these people are the most hospitable people on the planet. I've never met people like this, right? And Buc-ee's, the gas station,
Oh, yeah,
is
Buc-ee's.
his mecca or now,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So,
Exactly.
I think as much as we don't really follow football, soccer,
Right.
this is good for the world to have it here in the United States for just that reason.
Yep.
All of these folks who otherwise never would have visited the United States are now finding out that what they're being spoon-fed on TV and radio and the internet
Yeah.
is complete garbage.
Yeah.
And And speaking of Southern hospitality and whatnot, we have Kate Day
Kate Day.
from the 603 Alliance, and she's got the most Southern accent I've ever heard from someone associated with the 603.
Yeah, I know. That's one of my hats. Yes.
Yeah, we
And-
I posted all the stuff on yours, and people were going, "Really? Are you just making this stuff up?" I said, "No, she's done it." And now she's running for commissioner, which she found out, when was that? Yesterday? Friday.
I was having a heat stroke.
So-
Yeah. So,
So introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you're currently doing, who you're from, the 603 Alliance, and what you're running for. Tell us all
okay,
about
all right.
you
So,
and your alliance.
okay, well, 603 Alliance started during Jennifer Horn's the reign,
Yep.
and you were vice chair
Yeah.
of the NHGOP,
Yeah.
and a great vice chair, I might add.
Thank you.
But I was not involved in it at that time. I just now got on the board. But mainly what we do now is we help train candidates.
Okay.
So we have a training actually on Saturday for state rep candidates. And, you know, maybe
There's a
commissioners.
few of them in this state.
Yes,
I think this
there's
state
just
has
like
a few more
400.
than all the other states
Yeah,
combined.
yeah, I
really.
think so, yeah, yeah. So we'll have our last training on Saturday, and then in July, we're going to be having an issues-based training for those candidates. So they'll be prepared to really know what they're doing and talking about and, you know, all that.
So who does the training?
We have everybody from like Jason Osborne to all kinds of different people to come in. Scott Monsey will be there, the chair of the
John
NH
DePietro involved?
Yeah, I think he is sometimes.
Yeah.
Because we'll talk about how your digital presence, it's like an all-day thing.
It
And
is.
so, and we feed lunch, because it's an all-day thing. And so, it's a lot. Talk about signs, talk about, how to approach people, how to do all that kind of stuff. And, but most recently, like as in Monday, we just had graduation for a women's leadership, Republican leadership class. Training for leadership, not just being a candidate, but like this is for a woman who might be wanting to run, and we have several that are running, but might also want to have leadership in any kind of organization, or I always think of people is we need leaders in the Republican Party, whether it's a town chair, county chair, or at the e-board level. And so it's a very intensive thing. There are 4 of us that founded it. Pam Tucker, who was also a vice chair, and Margaret Dry and Virginia Dry, and we all 4 started
Virginia,
it.
right.
Yeah. And now we just had our second class, and we just got back from D.C. So it's a wonderful thing. It's another all-day class.
Well,
and
in
we have,
D.C., was that a
Fighting
different?
in D.C.?
Yeah. we
How'd you come in?
well, you know what? Okay, so the last time, so all right, so this class, we have like 4 or 5 all-day Saturday classes, and we have everybody from the Secretary of State to all these different people talking about leadership and how you do things. It's a lot. So then we end with like a 3-day trip to DC where we go and we meet all kinds of people and we talk about all kinds of influences.
First in the Nation
we
committee was there too.
Yes,
You're part of that,
yes,
right?
they were there. They kind of overlapped us, and so I'm also on that committee.
Right.
The First in the Nation
Right.
committee. So, okay, and I'm also on the NHGOP executive board as assistant treasurer. So that's just kind of like for now. So, and now I'm running for commissioner. I don't know how this happens. I don't know. So anyway, but we're in DC, And it was so nice and clean, and I felt safe walking around, which was much different than one of the
Yeah.
last times I was there at the.
Anyone who's traveled to DC multiple times over multiple decades will know exactly what you're talking about. Because
Yes.
it used to be really, really nice, and then it got dirty and dangerous. right?
Yes.
Not just dirty, but dangerous.
Yes.
And it sounds.
Well, one
Yeah.
of the last times I was there was 2020, which was the last night. I was a delegate for Trump, and that was the last night of the RNC convention. And we had everything. We were all out on the lawn, and it was a whole thing. You watched the fireworks, and it was and we stayed at the Willard just so we could go right out there, because this was during 2020 and BLM riots and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we wanted to be able to go right back to the hotel and not be in any of that
Right.
stuff. But no,
No.
the riots were going all around, mainly in front of the Willard.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
no.
right up to the White House.
So here we are in our high heels and all this stuff. Well, I mean, not stepping it, but not the men, but okay. Well, most of them, I don't think. Whatever.
You
so,
never know nowadays.
Yeah, well, you never know. You never know. You heard about the guy that ran for sheriff.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's a whole nother story. Well, anyway, so we were forced to go out the other side of the White House lawn and walk for, it seemed like miles. It
Yeah,
may have just been
it's
a couple of miles.
It's a big fence to walk around.
Yeah, yeah, and then we had to walk, and we had to go opposite direction for several blocks because they were blocking
off.
them, and these creeps were going by. They were trying to run us off that because they knew we were coming from that, and they're screaming at us and they're cussing at us, and I had just told my roommate that I said, I just want to tell you, if we go out there and somebody is telling me I've got to put my fist in the air for BLM, it ain't gonna be pretty. And it's not gonna happen. And so you may want to distance yourself from me, because I'm not gonna be one of those people in the restaurants. It's not gonna
Yeah.
happen.
That's right. I remember that now. They would go exactly. They would go restaurant to restaurant, business to business, and harass
And
people
storm the place.
until they made their little.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
will happen?
Oh, I remember
So
them
they
doing
were
that.
trying to run us off with bicycles on scooters to run over us, and all that kind of stuff. So I had told this friend of mine, Daniel, I said, we cannot show fear. And these people were trained. So they would come right in our face, and they had backpacks on, and then they had a handler who would pull them back just if they got a little too close, whatever legal. They were so
Right.
trained.
Yep.
And then there was a photographer
Following.
following. I said, we can't
And,
give them
and
what
the
they want.
photographer is waiting for you to
Yes,
react.
yes. So I said, we can't do that, So we're walking, there was a group of us, and oh my God, the blisters. Because we were thinking we were just walking,
Across the street.
Yeah. And that is where Rand Paul, do y'all remember Rand Paul went out and he was accosted and all that
Yep.
kind of stuff? So they're following us and trying, and I'm just like, because y'all, I don't take this stuff very well. But I had to think of it like a chess move. We couldn't give them what they wanted,
Right.
So we're just, and I live FaceTimed it for a little bit, and I did call them some very bad names. And so we get up to the Willard, and they kind of like closing in on us, and it was all locked down, And so that's when I really saw them, they're getting in, screaming in people's faces and all this stuff, and I'm like, no, we're not going to do it. And so the staff saw us as we were like trying to get in, and they opened the doors just enough for us to get in.
And
they
nobody
closed
else.
it. Yeah. And so and then when I was there, everything was boarded up and so many things were closed and all that. But this time we went and we were going all over the place, and it was awesome. I mean, everything was open, everybody was cheerful, and it was clean. It was so clean. And then all the fountains, most of them, well, not the, did y'all hear that reflecting to the pool,
Yes.
that has that, did you hear it was sabotage?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They know who they are, so they've got they've got camera footage.
Yeah.
They've ID'd them. They've got their license plate numbers. They know exactly who it was. They know what they put in there, and it's algae from Georgia. So,
Yes!
so you know, the idea there was they were going to say, oh, the reflecting pool still grew algae. But no, it didn't, because that algae is nowhere near Virginia,
No.
or
No.
Washington D.C. It doesn't. It's not from there. So,
That
but
was
they know
horrible.
who they are, and the comment from the FBI was, as soon as we know where they are, they'll be in custody. So,
Well, you know.
so that's good news. But so it's more of that. We're going to engineer something in hopes to catch the Republicans doing something stupid. Oh,
Kinda
they
like the
wasted all
Southern
this.
poverty
They
people,
wasted
you know.
all this money. No, they didn't. You sabotaged it, right? If
Yeah, for our 250th anniversary, you would think they might
yeah.
stop
It's
the
No.
nonsense.
so horrible. They won't. They can't bring themselves to stop it. Did you see the one interview? They interviewed a woman on the street in Washington D.C. and they asked her, "What do you think of the new reflecting pool?" And she says, "It's really gorgeous, and I hate it." Because she's a liberal and she wants to hate everything that Trump does.
Yep.
Right? Everything that we do to clean up their city, they want to hate it because they want it to fail. But she literally said it was, and CNN played it. She says it's gorgeous, it's beautiful, it's 1,000 times better than it was, and I hate it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
that is a
they just-
mental disorder,
It
isn't
is.
it?
Yeah.
Liberalism
really
is
is.
a mental disorder. It always has been.
And I try so
Anyway.
hard. You know, I feel
But it's,
like
it's
I'm
great
like
to
the
hear
lab
that
puppy.
it's clean
Oh,
and
yes.
safe.
Yes, it's,
Right?
it's
I mean, because that's what it's supposed to be. People go there and they think that's the place where that they can riot and march against the government and all that business, but that's not what Washington, D.C. was built for. Washington, D.C. was built specifically to show off the grandeur of the United States, right? U.S. exceptionalism, American exceptionalism. That's why we have the Washington Monument. That's why we have the Jefferson Monument. That's why we have the Martin Luther King Monument. It's supposed to be clean, beautiful, and a place that's attractive to show off who we are.
And it really was beautiful. I watched this YouTube the other day of this one guy that went around on his little electric scooter, and he was going around to all the fountains which now work.
Right.
And some of them have not worked in over 25 years. And they were beautiful. And I'll say, when we were there with Ready to Lead, we got this private van tour. Great guy. I bless his heart. I do think he was liberal, but he put up with us. And he took us on a night tour of all the monuments.
That's pretty cool, actually.
It
Oh,
was awesome. And
are.
I tell you what,
Yeah.
that Korean monument with the men that are in their ponchos, and have y'all seen it? It's,
I haven't
guess
seen that
Yeah.
one in person, but I've seen it.
it
yeah.
in the night, it is. I mean, you want to cry, and because it's ghostly looking. They have the light shining up on them, and they talk about this guy, our great driver, was telling us the reason they're in their ponchos is they thought the war was going to be so short they didn't send them with winter gear.
Right.
So all they had were these ponchos
Yeah.
on, and they capture their faces, of course, with that light shining up on them,
Yeah.
and it gives you pause. I tell you what.
So that monument depicts the frozen chosen, I believe,
Yep.
of which our former host Gary Hopper, his father was
Oh
one of
my
the few
gosh.
who made it out of the chosen
Oh, wow.
reservoir.
My father-in-law was in Korea, and he was a sharpshooter or a sniper or whatever, and he recently died. And it was horrible. I'm sure some of the stuff he had to go to, which squirrel, that's my word. We're thinking. Yesterday.
That's what this show is all about.
Okay, good. We're a squirrel show. I love it. I love it. So yesterday, I had been invited to go to this veterans luncheon. I was worn out. I mean, I had. It was a whole lot of stuff.
Where was this?
In Keene.
Oh, in Keene.
And John DiBernardo was there, and his brother Skip, who is not running, and I'm running for his spot. Well, anyway, so it was Mike York, who lives in Swansea, who invited me, he and his wife Jeanette, who is also a veteran. And I'm like, I don't want to go. It's the best thing I ever did. I mean, I love veterans and all. I was just tired, okay? I'm like, what is this lunch? I don't know what I'm doing. So I went, and oh my gosh, sitting and talking to these men about what they've done. And I just think, do we still have people like that? I mean, talk about I mean, because my daddy was in World War
Nobody
II.
listens anymore, and you're absolutely right. These people are fascinating people. They are some of the greatest people that ever lived, and they still have stories to tell, and they're not going to be around much longer.
I know. I mean, I left there. Well, plus they pull your chair out for you and all that stuff. So there was that.
Hold the door, stuff like that.
Oh yeah. So there, I'm like, and I told Gunny this. I said, honey, you could be a Southerner. And he said, well, my mama and daddy were from Mississippi and Alabama. I said, I knew it was in there. I knew it. But it was just wonderful. And we actually talked about how back then, nobody asked when you were a veteran. I mean, most everybody, especially like in the 60s, you knew every household had a veteran in because everybody, like my dad and his two brothers fought. My mom didn't, but her three brothers were there. And, cousins, everybody knew somebody that was in a war. And you don't have that today. But we were talking, he said, you didn't talk about, you were in the war. Were you a Democrat or a Republican?
No.
He said, we were all Americans.
Right.
And
Exactly.
it is sad that we've gotten to that. I love to tell stories. I hope you're ready. Because I'm Southern, that's what we do. And so 2016, I was the county chair when Trump won. Jane Johnson, you know Jane.
Yeah.
We were standing outside the door of the headquarters this is important, on the dry November leaves. And we were pulling the sleeves off of the metal things, the Trump signs, that's,
Yeah.
the bags that go over there. We're pulling those off. Some people were coming by for souvenirs. They were all excited. We were exhausted, it was a long night. And this woman stops her car, flings open the door, and runs out, leaving the car running, the door open, and comes over, and on the way says every F-word thing, cusses us out all the way over there. And we're kind of not fazed. We had been through a lot. I mean, and we're just standing there going, and I said, you want a souvenir? and she's,
But you're already taking them down.
yeah, well, I know, but she's screaming at us because you're women and you supported Trump, and she mentions all this grabbing thing and all this stuff, and I'm
There's
just
that
looking at
mental disorder you
yeah,
mentioned.
and I'm like really tired. Okay, I'm like. So then she takes out her cigarette lighter, tries to light it on fire, standing right next to us on the November dry leaves.
Oh, no.
Is it?
And-
There's got to be something in there that she did illegal, because that's assault, arson.
Yeah, well, so it could have
mean,
been really bad arson.
Yeah.
I mean, was she going to throw it on us? I don't know. But then we realized, I said, well, I guess they're not flammable. Because it didn't take. Well, this just infuriated her as she just cursed at us going out the way. So there were these staffers, out in the parking lot. I said, guys, beware. She's off her meds. And so then
And she's single, too.
yeah, and then she came back and did it again, and she's still
She came
screaming
back
at
and
us.
did it again.
And so somebody later, they said, well, why didn't you call the police? I said, I could have taken her. I mean, you don't call the police unless you have an issue.
Unless you can't handle it,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I could handle it. I mean, she was an idiot. And so, anyway, but after that, there is a end to this story. That's when I realized they truly saw us as monsters. And they truly saw Trump as monster, and we were following the monster. So it was proposed that the Democrats and Republicans in Keene, Cheshire County, come together and have luncheon.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my God.
So we
Did she
did.
show up for
Oh,
lunch?
God, no. I mean, who knows where, she may have gone back, well, yeah, they don't have those mental institutions anymore. But anyway, I thought maybe she escaped or something. But anyway, so we did have this luncheon, and we came together. And out of that, we started a civil discourse group.
Oh, wow.
It was mainly liberals, because, whatever.
How'd that work?
It was interesting. At one point, one of the people came to me and he said, Kate, I'm beginning to understand that it's not so much you don't want government or that you don't care about people. It's that you think that government should, the more local it is, the better. And the more, he said, I think if the state ran education instead of the federal government, we would be better off. And if we could administer, the hospital care and stuff instead of mandates from the federal government. And I'm going,
So you're a conservative.
you would think, but
You're almost to the light. Keep going.
But then COVID came in. Oh God, we couldn't, go near each other then.
So Kevin Smith, who
Yes.
we're going to have on one of these days,
Oh, I
soon,
love Kevin Smith.
he wanted him and Donna Susi were going to have one of these
Oh
discourse
yes,
things.
that new thing.
I don't know how that'll work, but anyway, I just thought of that when you were talking about
Well,
that.
yeah, and I thought that was kind of interesting because I grew up in a family where my dad was a debate coach and my two brothers competed in debate all the time.
Debate coach?
So, yeah. And so, when you go to debate, you come prepared not knowing which side
You're gonna
that
be
you-
on.
Yeah. And you have to look at both sides. And that's my whole life. And I'm so used to discussing things. But, oh my gosh, you start bringing up an alternative idea. And my experience is most liberals will say, I just can't talk to you about this.
Are they
It's
say,
because they've put up that wall. But the ones who
Yeah.
ones who let it down and start listening and,
Yep.
and just really trying to understand your side, like this fellow you were talking
Yeah.
about, who
I mean, it
said,
didn't
"Hey,"
last long. Don't
He said,
be
he said,
mistaken.
"Oh, we should bring it from the feds down to the state." Or,
Yeah.
Okay, you're
That's a
almost
start, yeah.
you're almost there, right? And so they those folks who start to listen, you can
Yeah, but they
almost get
can't
to
listen
them.
long
Right.
so often.
Well, it's like is that neighborhood out in Minnesota or whatnot? They decided that they didn't want ice
oh, they
in
blocked
their
off the
neighborhood.
streets, yeah.
So
You
they
had to
blocked
pass,
off their
right?
street,
Yeah.
and they were checking everybody going into their neighborhood to make sure that they're supposed to be there. It's like you're almost there,
Almost.
right? If we take
Almost
this
getting
concept and we expand it to the nation and have checkpoints to make sure that only people who are supposed to be here come in, right? Let's take your idea from the neighborhood level and expand it to the national level, right? Like,
Yeah, but they had to
you're
have-
almost there.
But the thing was, they had to have an ID, right, to get in there. They
Yeah,
checked their
right,
IDs.
right.
It's like you're checking IDs
Yes.
to make sure
Yes.
people belong in
Yes.
this little area. It's like you're so close.
There are glimpses. Like I have a wonderful friend, and we were going. She kind of wanted at that point, not so much now, but wanted to understand why I was a Republican or whatever. And I said, let's look at how you raise your kids. You really raise your kids. I mean, if they have to spend money on something, you make them pay half of it. You expect things from them. And I said, if a principle is a good idea, it should be good like at the small level to the big level. Like you don't steal from your neighbor, or you shouldn't steal from another country. I mean,
Right.
the whole idea is a good principle. So I did exactly that. I said, okay, well, let's look at your family and your kids, and do you give them something for nothing? Do you give them whatever, blah, blah. We went through the whole thing. Well, no. I said, okay, let's just expand that to our town. do you think you should just give something to somebody or give them, without anything? Without knowing, if you know they're not responsible, you're going to give them this? You're going, well, no. I said, okay, let's take that to the state level. So we did that. We went all the way up. And she threw down this thing, and she goes, oh, my God, maybe I'm a Republican. But then it didn't last long. Okay, it didn't last long.
It never does.
No,
Because
no.
there's this human nature where we all want to be right, and we don't ever want to admit that we made a mistake.
Right.
We have this ingrained need to justify all of our previous actions rather than take responsibility and say, wait a minute, I really screwed up here, and it led to this, and this, and you know what? That is on me, right? It's taking responsibility, right? And so we naturally want to defend all of our actions, regardless of where it started. And,
You have to work on that
right?
to be
And when
open.
someone opens our eyes like that, we go, wow. And if we don't have an argument, then we separate ourselves from it. We go and we talk to our bubble,
Yes.
and our bubble reconvinces us to come back into it.
Yep, and exactly what happened. There was, one other little story. I mean, I got so many stories, and I tell way too many of them. But when I was running for state rep, I was talking to this guy at the dump. You got to
Yeah, you gotta
campaign
go,
at the
yeah.
dump, except for
I got
in my
kicked out
town.
of the dump for campaigning in the dump at Ware once.
Really?
2006.
Oh, in Chesterfield, they don't allow
Yeah.
it. You have to stay outside of the thing.
Yeah, I
Anyway.
got booted as well.
And I know, it's just so annoying, Well, anyway, so I went to where I could in another town, and this guy, he said, well, I'm on, because he was asking what I was running on, or what do you think about education funding, And I said, well, we talked about it, and he said, well, I think we need an income tax to help with that.
Oh, boy.
And he was up in his pickup with his big, trash can. And I'll never forget the imagery of this. And I said, really? I said, so have you ever been to a state or known of a state that added one and reduced your property taxes? And he had like this look. There's always that little light bulb that glimmers
Has anyone
for a
ever
minute.
reduced it?
And he goes and he slams down the trash can and he goes, wow, that's why I moved here from Connecticut. I forgot.
Oh, no.
That's like the story of the folks who moved to Oklahoma from California. There was this family. They moved and they said, oh, we left California. Our taxes were too high. San Francisco, the cities were getting too dangerous, and so they moved to this red state and said, we really, really love it here, but we wish there were more Democrats in the state house. Get right? That's like us. Don't mass up New Hampshire. If you're going to move here from Massachusetts to get away from the policies that are straining your bank account, don't bring those policies here. But at least he realized exactly.
Well, for a
what-
minute,
Yeah.
I'm sure he went back to his bubble and got recharged. But
Yeah, Connecticut was the worst.
Common sense just doesn't last long in their brains. I don't understand it.
Yeah, but I keep trying because I really, like I said, I love to debate. I love to, but I go into it with the idea I'm either going to confirm what I think, learn something new, or completely learn I was wrong. And those are the three things I always go into a conversation about, because I want to learn and I want to understand. And but when you try to talk to somebody in a very civil way, and
With the southern accent.
yeah, well, yeah. Now, I'm not always so nice, but in a persuasive kind of way, I really just want to learn and hear. And then when you bring up like, well, what about the other side of this? Now that guy with the trash can, he had
He
that
got it for a
moment.
bit.
He had a little short circuit.
Yeah, but
right? It just
someone
kinda-
else might in that same scenario say, I just can't talk to you about this. this.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
it's like, almost like a robot, that it's like
Right.
something, it's going bonk,
As soon
bonk,
as,
bonk.
as soon as that block comes up that they
Yeah.
don't have an answer to,
Well-
they don't wanna discuss it anymore.
I love
There's no two-way discussion. As
Right.
soon as the
Right.
discussion gets to a point where it's either, like you said, they're as polite as they can be and say, I just can't talk to you, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
whole husband and wife thing going on, right?
It's like a religion.
Exactly.
So-
Or they start name calling, right?
Yeah.
They always deteriorate to that point where they just are unwilling or unable to have a discussion with you without insulting you.
My favorite is when they're protesting at the State House and somebody walks up to one of them with a mic and say, so what are you here for? And they'll say, oh, this is only my first time. That person can answer that for you.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I mean, what? So why are you there then?
So
You
I'm
know,
here
it's
for the social aspect.
And the
of it.
same, and you can see the same people with different signs all the time. I mean,
It was-
Gary and I used to stop and debate, well, not debate, we would ask them questions, and they never had an answer. It was like, oh, well, they know, we were just here holding us,
Yeah.
I mean,
It-
really? What do you believe in? I mean,
You know, we make jokes and we know that these protests are funded by filthy rich Soros types,
Yep.
right?
But those are
And-
the billionaires you can keep. You need to get rid of the ones that
Yeah,
actually
exactly,
produce things. Sorry, I just
exactly.
had to clarify.
But we know that they're funded by these folks. But what gets me is that it's entirely predictable. Like my values and my views on all of these subjects, whether it be from Iran to abortion or taxes or anything, have not changed. My arguments and my stance have not changed in the last 45 years.
but they've gotten stronger.
But theirs just flip-flops. If I can show you video of Biden, Kamala, Bernie saying things that are
Schumer,
hardcore conservative radical views, but they said them in the 1980s,
Yeah.
right? These things never change. And I even said it in the 80s when I was still a teenager. I said it feels like all of these protesters, for whatever it was that I was seeing on the nightly news that particular time, I said it feels like these people are the older 60s generation looking to relive their younger protest days.
Yes.
Their Vietnam protests. That's what it
Yes.
is. They're like, well, back in my day, we used to do this, and we got things done. We marched on Washington.
yeah.
And it feels like the people that are doing it now, you go into that crowd and you see all of these white-haired Q-tips, right, with these signs, but you see all the younger generation, and it's, hey, back in my day, we did this, and it's exactly that. Well, I'm just here, this is my first time, go talk to that person,
Yep.
the professional protester.
Yep.
They're looking to relive their glory days because they think that got the attention of the world, and they think that's how things are done, and that's how they're teaching this next generation how things get done. Oh, you want something done in Washington, you gotta march and riot and light stuff on fire,
Yeah, or take over the
right? And it feels like they're being funded by these folks who used to do that, right? It just, and I said that in the 1980s, and it's still going on.
Yes, yes.
They're just trying to relive the glory days because they think that got them somewhere.
Yes.
They think that that's what got Nixon to resign.
But they were
Right.
protesting in the 60s. They were protesting the government and the overreach of government, and they were protesting the man. They were, all the, and they're
And yet not one single liberal in the 60s voted for the Equal Rights Act and to give the
Right.
Minorities the right to vote. Not one. It was
And now they're voting for government control, and they're voting
Yeah.
for the opposite of what they were back then.
Yeah.
I once saw this interview of feminists from the 60s and 70s, and I'm sure they've been, blackballed now or whatever, but they were talking about, and I agree with them. I mean, I was raised as a woman that I could do anything that a man could do, at least intellectually. I might not. My brothers were bigger than I was, and they could if I tried to change the channel 10 to throw me across the room, and I couldn't necessarily do that to them. However, but as far, my dad, you can take any job you want, and you can do it just as well or whatever. That was true feminism. This having to have any standards lowered for you or whatever, or you automatically got it just because you're a woman, no.
Yeah,
you
that was-
get it because you're the best, period.
Everything
That's feminism.
DEI now is the antithesis of feminism, of Martin Luther King, of Malcolm X. It's completely opposite. I mean, I can bring the video next week of Malcolm X. Have you ever seen the video of Malcolm X discussing the biggest danger to the black community? He said this in black and white in the 1960s. He says the biggest danger to the black community is the white liberal who uses us to extend their own power while keeping us in poverty.
Wow.
Malcolm X said that. It's
Yep.
on tape,
Yep.
right? He warned about the white
Wow.
liberal and the way the white liberal is more racist to blacks than conservatives ever were.
Wow. And they're still using the same playbook.
They are. They've been doing it for 45, 50 years now.
Wow.
And Malcolm X called them out on it, and no one listened. And you will never see that clip on CNN. It's
No.
not AI. It's been around for decades. But look it
Wow.
up. Look up what Malcolm X has to say about liberals. It has not changed, and that was kind of the point that I was making. We haven't changed. The liberals, well, underneath they haven't changed, but their arguments, they pretend to be here on this side, and when it doesn't work for them, they will flip-flop. So
Well, I love the fact they're saying it's Democrat socialism. We're for Democrat socialism,
Oh,
but
yeah.
we're not for communism.
socialism hasn't been done correctly. It hasn't
Yeah.
been done in a democratic way
Right.
yet. But when it is, it'll work.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah, just look at
unbelievable.
Venezuela. Why don't you give them a video of Venezuela and how rich they were and how and Cuba, government stores and food, and they run out of it. Too bad. I mean, they don't.
Well, we'll
they
see
don't
that in
get
New
it.
York City soon, I would
Oh yeah,
think.
we will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we're already seeing it.
Yeah.
I'm seeing
some of it.
I'm
yeah.
seeing images of folks who voted for Mamdani, who are regretting it already. And it's
Yes.
been less than 6 months.
Yeah. But you still have AOC and Bernie running around, like the guy from Maine. Bernie's up there,
Plattner?
Yeah,
Is that
Plattner.
his name?
He's up there trying to get him elected. I'm
They've
thinking, oh my
spent
God.
the last 12 years calling Trump a Nazi, and
Right.
now they are literally
Nazi.
voting for a Nazi
Yeah,
on their side.
yeah.
I mean,
And Gary used to say it all the time. He said it on this show, every other show for 10 years. He says, if they're accusing us of doing something, they're probably already doing it themselves.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
right, that's
Yeah.
exactly what this Plattner thing is in Maine.
well,
All of a sudden, it's okay.
she's got to keep her job.
AOC, you're
Yeah,
saying.
no, Susan Collins.
Susan Collins, yeah.
And when we were in
Unfortunately, she
D.C.,
has to keep her job.
we met with 2 or 3 senators, and the first thing they said was, "You have to send us a senator from New Hampshire." And D.C. is counting on New Hampshire.
If DC's
to
counting
win.
on New Hampshire, send some of that money
I
up
imagine
here.
it's going to
Yeah.
be
for the
one of the most
primary.
expensive
My
Senate
Lord.
races in the country.
Like,
Yeah, probably.
Ever.
we typically don't get a lot of money from the national GOP for New Hampshire because they figure we're a lost cause. And if they're down there saying that we're important, then they need to start sending us some of that.
I imagine we're going
campaign
to
money.
see.
Well, they're hiring some people up here now.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have Turning Point, who is
Yeah,
like.
Turning Point hopefully is really making a big difference
Yeah.
this year.
So that will be wonderful. But, for anyone who's listening in New Hampshire, don't get your panties all in a wad, excuse me, but if your person in the primary doesn't win, suck it up and then vote Republican.
Right.
We had this amazing, Pam Tucker's niece, I guess I can say this, anyway, I won't say her name, just in case. but she's an attorney that works for the judiciary and is works to uncover a lot of the fraud and stuff
Yeah.
in Minnesota and all this kind of thing. And one thing that kept on being said, this has been going on, this fraud, been going on through many administrations, Republican and Democrat. But right now, if we don't keep the majorities of Republican, you know the Democrats will drop all of this fraud investigation, all of this immigration, the border, all this stuff. It is, everybody says
Not
it's
only
the
that,
most
they're
important, but
They're gonna
it's,
drop all the fraud investigation, they're gonna reinstill all the NGOs, they're gonna.
DEI.
USAID, or what is it, is that USAID?
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
The-
U.S. aid,
Yeah,
yes.
they're gonna put all of
They'll
that stuff
reinstate
back.
all of that.
They're gonna get another firm grip on all the federal judge appointments, which is already a freaking disaster.
Yep.
And
And they're gonna add more on the Supreme
And-
Court.
the
Yes, they'll
only
pack it.
thing, the only thing that will happen for the next 2 years in Congress will be impeachment after impeachment after impeachment after impeachment. They won't do anything except spend money and denigrate conservatives.
Yes, and if,
Because
even
they
if
don't
you're a
give
Democrat
a
or
damn about who's spending money in this country. They don't give a damn about who's taking our money, where our fraud money is going, and they don't give a bad damn about any of us
no.
and what we're doing for our families.
And Republicans certainly are far from perfect, but
Oh, they're definitely got their hands dirty in a lot of this
A lot
fraud,
of
the
it.
USA, the NGOs. That's why we're not able to get some of these things through, because the leadership down there has got their hands dirty, and they don't want to get caught until they're out of office.
but
right?
it's our only hope is to
Right.
keep the majorities.
That's why the
And
Save
it's-
America Act hasn't been passed, is because we've got a few that are just, their hands are just as dirty as the liberals.
So, but keeping that majority at least with, you know,
Senate.
the Senate and even the House.
Yep.
We've got to do it because when we have the majorities, at least we have influence within our own to say, look, you got to clean this up. This isn't looking good on this either. But if the Democrats are in, you don't. And it's the same with the state. We have got to, a lot of people, you know, it's like herding cats. I mean, I love the fact that Republicans have independent thought and we don't all think alike. But man, is it hard when you try to pass stuff or you try to elect people and people are going, well, I didn't like him because of so-and-so. And I'm like, you know what? Do you like the other people that are wanting to come in and do what they want to do? At least when you have the majorities and you have a Republican, even if they're only 75% of what you like, you can talk to them. The Democrats, and I hate this, but the Democrats are not going to listen to you.
No.
And so I go back to that civil discourse thing. I wish we could all talk it out and be reasonable. And maybe someday we can get back to that. But right now, we have to keep the majorities. We're looking still for a couple of seats here and there. And I said, well, you know what? In this community, there's a great charter school out my way called Lionheart.
Yep.
And the Democrats, you know, for so long, we had access to federal money to start charter schools. But the Democrats, when they had the majorities in the New Hampshire, they would not let New Hampshire access that money. And so finally, when we got the Republicans in charge, we started great charter schools. And that Lionheart is one of them.
There's several of them.
Yes.
Maureen Moody had one that she was
Yes.
doing. I mean,
Yes.
The
there are
problem
several.
is that they don't have control over the charter schools the way they have control over the public schools.
Right.
Well,
And that's that indoctrination education
Yes,
business.
yes. Well, so if we lose the House or the Senate in
Here.
New Hampshire,
Yep.
that will be one of the first things they'll want to do
Oh,
is,
sure.
is disembowel the charter schools. So if your kid goes to a charter school, if your kid uses an EFA, or you know someone you care about that does, we've got to fill these seats. You've got to show up to vote, and we've got to keep them. And it's people. they get caught up in the national stuff. You know, we don't have a national other than the Senate and the Congress. We don't have a presidential or whatever. But man, is this state important in so many ways, not only for the way we live here in New Hampshire, but what they need in D.C. We need to send somebody to D.C. to help, because there's going to be some other states that lose. I mean, what if Susan Collins lose? God forbid. Then, you know, us sending one of, you know, Scott Brown or Sununu to D.C. is only going to, you know, counterbalance.
Yeah.
We need to win, and we need to keep it. So
I saw where the 3 candidates that Trump supported in the primaries won.
2 of the 3.
No, 3. I just heard it on the way in.
Oh, really? I thought
Yeah.
one of them got trounced.
Well, that might have been 4 then. I don't know.
Yeah, it could
But
be.
no, I heard that all 3 of his won, which
And
is
so-
a good sign.
that is a good sign. I mean, he doesn't always call it right either.
No, right.
You know, just as much as we talk about the Democrats, there are people that, you know, it's their way or the highway on the right side of the aisle too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I mean,
we've-
I support Trump, but I'm not going to say he's perfect either.
Oh, yeah, we've
But a
been
lot of
critical
people,
of Trump and some of his
Yeah, we have.
policies. I mean, the last couple terms, I was critical of Sununu and some of his policies. But
Yes.
it doesn't mean I'm not voting for him,
right?
right?
Right. And it
you
doesn't
know,
mean I'm not
it doesn't
supportive.
It doesn't mean the things that I disagree with him outweigh the things that I agree with him
Right,
on.
right.
So,
And people need to really understand that.
Yeah,
because
we talk about it all the time on the show, is that, you know, we need to win. So if there's something that bugged you that somebody did and you're not going to vote for them, you know, you're electing a Democrat. You're not giving us a chance to win. And that's crazy.
don't just not show up. And
Right.
don't just vote for the other side to be spiteful. Like,
Right.
that's not how that,
Right.
that's not
So I
what
have a
we're here
question
for.
for you. Did you see Kennedy, Senator Kennedy?
Well,
I saw
okay,
you.
another story to tell. So we're walking through D.C., we're walking through the Capitol, and I have John Kennedy's book on Audible. He narrates it.
Oh, no.
It is
Well,
awesome.
but you can understand him.
Well, yes.
Yeah, see, I need a translator.
Yes, I understand him. And by the way, I always offer, especially during FITN, I always offer for the Southern candidates to let me be their interpreter if they need to, because I understand what they're saying. You know, I'm always doing that. So, but anyway, we're going through, and I'm this wonderful guy that used to be Kelly Ayotte's chief of staff when she was a senator. He has been helping us get in. And he-
John,
now, Jim, oh gosh.
doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Okay, anyway, Geico, doesn't matter. Anyway, and so we're walking through, oh God, it's going to come to me just a second. Anyway, and I said, you know, if we see Senator Kennedy, I might tackle him. I said, I've been listening to his Audible
good way or a
book.
bad
I mean, I just love listening to him. And so he said, well, you want to go up to his office? He's got a big alligator up there, you know. And I said, no, I just want to see him. Well, we had gone to Ted Cruz's office, and you know, and there was a hearing on the redistricting of Louisiana
Yep.
and all that kind of stuff, you know. I didn't know that Senator Kennedy was going to be in there. But anyway, we were being shuttled all through the buildings to get to this hearing because we had a little time. So there was a guy with, is it OAN, in the news, you know, the news. The
Oh, One
table.
American News?
One
Yeah,
American
yeah,
News, yeah.
So he's standing out there, and he gives us the lowdown that Kennedy's in there, Mike Lee's in there, and Cruz had just left. I said, John Kennedy's there. And so, anyway, he said, yeah. And I said, well, is there another door out? And he goes, nope, it's just one door in, one door out. And I said, really?
So you parked yourself near
Well, so then there was this other guy, like an usher, and he's trying to find us seats, and he's taking us in a couple at a time. So he gives me and my friend Rita, and he gives us seats. Technically the second row, but nobody in front of us because it was all blocked off.
Yeah.
Front row seats to John Kennedy eviscerating this the civil rights attorney. And I'm going, taking pictures, you know, and I'm just in heaven. I'm not real crazy. I always say, I never worship any politician. In fact, I always, I introduced Lynn Blankenbecker once, and I said, you know, for me, most politicians always start off in the gutter, and they have to work their way out. And she's in the back going, and I said, and Lynn is one of those people that has worked her way out of the gutter. But that's where they start with me, and then I have to look at them. Well, so anyway, but John Kennedy just cracks me up, and so I'm just sitting there. All of a sudden, his staffers are getting up, and I see him gathering his papers. I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna leave. So I'm like, get out of my way, and I run out, and I'm waiting for him to come out the door, right? And he comes out, and I'm like, John Kennedy! And so now, keep in mind, I don't tolerate heat well, and I was really hot. I was like, I mean, not hot looking. I mean, I like hot, you know. And so anyway, he's coming out, and I'm like, he goes, oh well, hello. And so I tried to compose myself and say, yes, we're with the Ready to Lead New Hampshire Women's Leadership Group, you know, and we're doing all this kind of stuff. And I said, you know, I had talked to, it was actually John Sununu, because he had mentioned that he had endorsed him. And I said, can you get him up to New Hampshire? And he said, well, it's on the books. It's on the calendar. And I'm like, oh, really? And so I said, well, now, if you need anything, I'll make you fried chicken or whatever you need, you know.
Good old New Hampshire
Yeah,
steak.
and I said, you know, I'm like the only Southerner up there. And he goes,
Sausage and gravy. And,
when
yeah.
I get up there, there'll be 2 Southerners. And I said, oh, yeah. I said, I'm
Is
really...
that what he said to you?
Yes, yeah. And so he was just so sweet and everything. And so then I'm just still like, oh, he probably needs to say hi to these other people, so I'm going to shut up a little bit. And then he says, well, what, y'all don't want a picture? I'm like, oh, yes, we want a picture. So anyway, we got a picture, and everybody
Doing
was...
the whole fangirl thing.
Yes. I mean, and I'm not that way, typically. I really am not. I'm just really, you know, first in the nation, we get so used to these big people coming here, and it's kind of like, yeah, you want my vote. I'm not sucking up to you. You better be sucking up to me. But I don't know. He did it for me.
So before we leave,
Oh, wait, are we almost over?
We
Yeah.
are
Oh,
done.
my gosh.
so you're running for commissioner. Tell people how they can reach you and how they can vote for you and whatever help you need.
Well, thank
Look
you.
at that camera. And
Hi, y'all. I'm running for county commissioner.
what county?
Cheshire County.
There you go.
Bless my heart. And I'm in Swansea and Fitzwilliam and Troy and Richmond, Chesterfield, Hinsdale. Oh, gosh, I'm doing the Rick Perry thing. Troy. Well, anyway, out that way. And just find me at the moment. Just find me on Facebook, Kate Day. You'll see my stuff. And if you want to help, I would appreciate it. If you live in those towns, vote for me. If you don't live in those towns and you know somebody, please tell them to vote for me, because I'll have just a great time being your county commissioner. And I would just love it.
All right, Kate, thanks for coming.
Thanks, Kate. See, this could be a 2-hour show
All right,
easily.
we'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.